Hello and good afternoon. My name is Ananta, and I'm glad to be with you again for our Power Boost today. We've chosen a very interesting topic, I think, which is you are not your opinions. Considering all the things that we are not, we might ask why not being our opinion or opinions, because there are many that we might have, is important. But it's important because it's one of those many identities that we allow ourselves to be controlled by. Some you're very familiar with. I'm sure you've been told that you are not your body. Any association with the Brahma Kumaris would certainly be a subject that you have touched on before. You know, you're not your body, you're not your job, you're not your car, you are not your profession, and so on and so on. But we don't think of our opinions as something that we are beholden to. However, we find these days that there is so much difference of opinion, which is not a problem in and of itself. But what the problem is the identification with it and the fact that it divides us. And of course, that division comes about because when there is any disagreement, it is taken so personally. And so usually when someone is in disagreement with you, you find that because you are so beholden to that opinion, that you're not able to distinguish that any disagreement with the opinion does not necessarily mean that it has to be something that you take personally. And so there are so many examples of that if you are clear about that, then when you are in any conversation with anyone, which I'm sure you will be for the remainder of today and onwards, you want to keep in mind that your point of view only reflects that. It reflects your point of view. And it doesn't mean that anyone that is in disagreement with that is necessarily making you right or making you wrong, because the point of view, like everything else, can change. It can change based on the information that you have. We all have things and positions that we take based on what we know that inform our lives and how we behave, and that's subject to change. And of course, any identity other than your true identity is subject to change. But it's something that comes up from time to time, and we tend to have this idea that our opinion is us. And so the boost that we want to give ourselves today is to be detached from the opinion in such a way that we can be truly objective about it. And so when you are objective about the opinion, then you can present a point of view without feeling that you have to defend yourself or defend the perspective that you are taking. You certainly can take a position on it, but it does not necessarily mean that it has to be defended. And especially when, more often than not, the opinion might very well be something that is true. And the person that might be in disagreement with you might not have that information. And you may want to try to gently inform them about what that information is and maybe where it comes from, and so on and so on. But what you should remember always about truth is that truth doesn't have to be defended, because truth usually will reveal itself. And so in any disagreement you might have, as you have, I'm sure, noticed in some instances, that people can agree or they can agree to disagree, and it doesn't have to set you apart. And you simply would have a point that you would get to in the discussion. Hopefully it's not an argument, just a friendly discussion. And you can either agree or agree to disagree. And so it doesn't mean that one person is right or one person is wrong. It is just a difference of opinion. But when it comes to something that is true, then you don't necessarily have to spend a whole lot of time trying to defend yourself or trying to defend that point of view. And so one of the exercises that you want to keep practicing is to distance yourself from any position that you hold. You hold a position based on information that you have, and you might share that information. But you need not feel that you have to convince anyone that you are right. And that is, of course, the main problem. We have this attachment to being right. And of course, when you juxtapose things as right or wrong, then you're either one or the other. And if you find yourself being made wrong, or if you feel that you are wrong, then that puts you in this defensive position, or it puts you at what you feel might be a disadvantage. But nothing like your opinion, nothing like any identity that is something that keeps changing ought to determine how you see yourself. How you see yourself and how you relate to others should be dependent solely on your own self-respect and self-esteem. And so that you don't need to be made right to be validated. And if someone is making your opinion or your point of view wrong, that doesn't change who you are, because who you are is a function of that level of self-respect and self-esteem that you have established for yourself based on your knowledge, based on your understanding, and based on your being comfortable with who you are. Because the truth is, even though everything is knowable, there is too much to know. And so every day is an opportunity to learn more. There is no point that you're going to reach in your lifetime where you're going to know and understand everything. So the important thing is to be understandable, is also to be understanding, and to be very comfortable with who you are. And so you want to broaden your own base of knowledge, and you want to be willing and able to share that information when needed, but it's not even a requirement in order for you to be in that mode of so much confidence and self-respect that you are unshaken and not made to feel any less than you are by someone disagreeing with you. And most important of all, as we've said earlier, you don't want to take it personally. And so this effort today is to have you be able to be clear who you are in terms of your own self-respect and self-esteem, such that your validation comes from within and not from without. And of course, you should expect to have healthy exchanges with anyone about anything, but just don't find yourself in a position where you lose your strength or your demeanor in terms of it being calm, in terms of it being satisfied and content, and find yourself losing your equilibrium, which is what you want to maintain all day, so that you are in charge of all of your actions and your reactions. And so that's our focus for today, for you to remember that you are not your opinions. You can have an opinion and be okay with that opinion changing, and be okay with expressing those changes, and even acknowledging to yourself, first of all, that you may have been mistaken, because there are times that you will be. As I said earlier, everything is knowable, but there's too much to know. And so let's spend a few minutes digesting that and inculcating that, so that from this moment on, not just today, but every day, you can step out there and feel no desire, no demand, no requirement that you meet any other person's expectations. And so wherever you are in this moment, just be yourself and be self-assured that at whatever stage you are in life, in your profession, in your progress towards whatever goals you've set for yourself, whether they are daily, weekly, monthly, or lifelong. I know that for many of us, we still have daily agendas and so on. And be content that you know where you're going and how to get there. And that level of self-respect and self-esteem will stand you in good stead in any situation. And there are situations that will require that you just listen. And so let's get ourselves into a mode where we can listen and where we can respond if need be, because there are times when the best and only response is silence. And so let's go within. And set aside any tension that's there. Sometimes until we look, until we search, we're not even aware of where we are not okay. And so give yourself permission to be okay, to be content, to be relaxed, to be self-assured, to not be in doubt, to not be in any kind of hurry, in worry and fear. All of these things that make themselves manifest without are manifest without because they are the same within. And so listen in, be confident. We're all at different stages, different phases. Life is very individual with regard to time and place. Your time, your place, your expectations, your understanding is not the same as anyone else, and certainly not at the same time as anyone else. We are all functioning within our own time frame, even though the time frame without is universal. Within, it's individual. And too often, what we're attempting to do is to keep up rather than just to be comfortable at our own pace, at our own time. So be comfortable with your own pace. Be comfortable with your own time. Be comfortable with your own demeanor. Be comfortable with your own perspective. It will change in keeping with your growth, with your understanding, with your patience, and with the effort that you continue to make so that your life works. And when you maintain that level of confidence and self-respect, then no difference of opinion can change that. It can be a learning experience, or it can be an opportunity for you to teach others. But it can and should never be at any time a situation that throws you off balance. And you maintain that balance by maintaining that certainty, maintaining that confidence, maintaining that level of understanding. And so today and every day, keep pace with yourself, not with anyone else, not with anything else, not with any other circumstances. Be your own guide and follow your own direction. And most of all, in addition to maintaining that equilibrium, you'll find that in the harmony that we all aspire to all the time, we become our own center. And so there is no disequilibrium, there's no disharmony, because you garner that onto yourself. Your own vibrations will create that for you. So you will have your own space and time that is comfortable within the larger space and time. we have that individual power. And that power we can continue to nurture by the extent to which we maintain that control. And that is something that you can do effortlessly by maintaining that central focus based on knowing who you are. And the more you learn and appreciate about you, the more you can be in that space of certainty and assurance and comfort. And no one, nothing, no circumstance can then cause you to lose that. And you'll find that it would be very easy to make adjustments as you go along. Because again, your full control is over you, not the circumstance. You can't control the weather. You can't control the situations and circumstances that you may suddenly find yourself having to deal with. But you're able to control how you relate to them. And it's in that relationship that we want to make sure that we are able to manage in a way that keeps us in control. And so you don't have to measure up to anyone else's but your own. So that quiet within, that gap, as we say, between thought and action is where you want to keep your focus. And that identity would then always be the one that is in and not of, the one that's in charge, the one that is at cause and not at effect. So let's pause in this moment today and appreciate that realization. So what you should be feeling right now is at ease. And anytime you are not, you have the power to change that instantly. It takes 1 second. That realization is all you need to put yourself back in control. So we'll leave you with a very important gift for the soul, which I'm going to share with you. It is dated today, especially for you. And so this is your gift to take with you. And it reads, in this world, every truth has some untruth mixed in it. This is why people believe that they have to defend their truth. Those who live with truth have no need to convince anyone of anything. Truth does not require argument to be proven. It simply is. Live happily, be courageous, but also humble and without ego. When there is truth, the soul dances and is at peace. When there is truth, the soul dances and is at peace. And if I might add one more line, be true to yourself. And there, you cannot go wrong. There's no right or wrong there. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you so much. It was very, very profound and at the same time very interesting.
Okay, thank you.
See you soon.